Hi, my name is Jewel, and thanks for joining me for this Vinyasa flow today. We'll be having a 75-minute experience together of moving the body through various postures and positions known as asanas as we connect with our breath and try to stay focused in the moment, in the position that we're in. We'll start in Hero's Pose, Virasana, in a comfortable seat. I like to take this pose with two blocks on their lowest, widest setting, and let my knees come on either side of the blocks and sitting down with my sit bones straight down, pointing to the earth. Take a few moments to adjust yourself. Let your toes just relax onto the floor. And if this is not comfortable, maybe you try bringing blankets underneath you. And if it's not working out this morning or whenever you're doing this, we'll take a Sukhasana, a cross-legged position. So wherever you are, find yourself in a comfortable seat. Maybe you bring a chair into your practice. Maybe you sit on a couch just for a little bit of grounding before we start moving. And you can feel free to shut your eyes, maybe gaze down at the floor with heavy eyelids. And we'll start to elongate the spine, sensing ourselves just growing a little bit taller with each inhale and grounding into the earth, grounding into our hips on each exhale. Gaze inward and just start to sense if maybe any body parts are talking to you, maybe what they're saying or asking of you. And then start to notice the quality of the breath. Vinyasa Yoga places its intention on linking together asanas with true meaning as we breathe, connecting each posture with the breath. The word yoga means to unite. You can interpret whatever that means for you today. And one interpretation is uniting the body with the mind. The way that we do this, the way that we connect the body and the mind is through our breath. Our breath is that bridge of connection, that thing that allows us to connect external and internal environments. I like to offer many different variations and many different options of our asana. So I ask of you to stay true to what your body, your breath, and your mind is asking for. If I offer a pose and it doesn't feel right for you, please let your body go in a direction that does feel better. Your only job for the next 75 minutes is to listen inward and to choose the option that is best for your body, breath, and mind. With that, if you'd like to bring an intention, a heart's desire, a purpose into your practice, let yourself discover that intention, that dedication naturally. Maybe a phrase, a person, or an image pops up into your mindset that you'd like to dedicate your practice to. And if nothing comes to mind, or maybe too many things flood your mind, just do it for yourself, your health, your confidence, your connection between mind, body, and spirit. We'll start to roll the shoulders up back and down super slowly. Twice in one direction. We'll pause, letting the shoulders settle away from the ears, and we'll roll the shoulders in the opposite direction. You can continue to keep the eyes shut, or maybe blink the eyes open. Let the shoulders pause at the bottom away from the ears, and we'll take single shoulder rolls. Right shoulder reaches up, and when it reaches all the way back down, let the left shoulder take a circle individually. We'll continue like this. Maybe you start to let your hands move along the legs for a little bit of somatic and body connection. We'll take 2 more rounds. And then we'll bring those individual shoulder rolls in the opposite direction, letting the right shoulder and the left shoulder individually roll forward, letting the neck stay long, embracing the core slightly. We'll let the shoulders come back to neutral, let the chest face forward, bring the palms to heart center, thumbs gently pressing towards the chest, elbows reaching in opposite directions, finger pads gently pressing against one another. Maybe you make a little bit of space between your 2 palms. Let the shoulders roll back and down. Lean the torso back just an inch to require you to use your core ever so slightly to hold yourself up. Let the toes wiggle behind you and then ask them to relax. Lift the chin an inch higher than it already is. We'll take 3 deep breaths together, followed by the sound of Om, the sound of the universe. You can feel free to join in or just soak up the vibration. We'll inhale fully through the nostrils. Exhale, sigh out the mouth. And inhale slowly, let yourself fill up entirely. Exhale, maybe stick out the tongue, sigh. One more cleansing breath, inhale. Slowly, super slow, exhale, release that breath. We'll inhale slowly for Om. Om. Come back to normal breath and sit with that vibration for 2 more natural breaths here. Gently pressing the thumbs into your heart. Once again, returning to that intention and repeat this to yourself 3 times. We'll lock your intention in for the remainder of the practice, and we'll start to bring movement to our breathing practice. As we inhale, raise the arms up overhead. As you exhale, bend into the elbows, cactus arms, gaze back, maybe a tiny little back bend. Inhale, raise the arms up, shooting energy through the fingers, straighten the torso. Exhale, pull the elbows down, cactus arms, lean back, gaze at the ceiling. One more like this, reach the arms all the way up. As you exhale, pull the elbows down, bend the elbows, gaze back, lift the heart to the sky. We'll pause in this back bend. Like a string of pearls, allow your back to bend through the entire spine. Exhale to release the hands to the knees, straighten the torso. We'll raise the right arm up to the sky to take a shoulder stretch. Flip the palm to the back, bend the elbow so the elbow's facing the ceiling. You might feel a nice stretch here. And to get a little deeper into this tricep, We can take the left hand and pull the elbow up to face the ceiling. If you find yourself hunching down, maybe you release that tension a little bit and press the head into the back of the right arm. Left arm comes out like a T, flip the palm to face behind you, bend at the elbow, and find a little bind, snuggling the fingers into the right hip crease. You can stay here, letting the elbow face directly down, or maybe you crawl the fingers to try to meet the right, maybe holding onto your shirt, your hair, or if you have a strap, you can bring the strap into the mix. Take your inhale to lengthen the spine, let the abdomen just float away from the floor. Exhale, maybe you tug on that strap or your shirt to let the elbows face opposite directions. This is Gomukhasana arms. We'll be here later. Take one more inhale, spread the elbows in opposite directions. Exhale, press the head into that right arm. We'll slowly release the arms out to a T, and we'll roll up the shoulders a couple of times to release the tension we just created. Drop the hands down to the knees. We'll take that to the opposite side. Left arm raises up, flip the palm behind you, bend the elbow so the hand comes in between the shoulder blades. Left arm will reach high so the elbow tries to point directly upward. If you'd like an assisted stretch with yourself, take left elbow into right hand and pull that elbow to face the ceiling. Again, if you catch yourself hunching or back bending, maybe you decide to come out just a bit, and we can use the strength and the heaviness of our head to press into that left arm. Right arm will raise out to a T, flip the palm to face back, bend at the elbow. You'll find your mini bind here, snuggling those fingers towards the left side. Option to stay here, or maybe you take those right fingers to try to meet the left towards the middle of the back. These different sides might feel entirely different, and that's okay. It doesn't have to look the same or feel the same. We're just noticing, trying to take away the judgment. Let's let those elbows face opposite directions. Bottom elbow faces the ground as the top elbow faces the ceiling. Take 2 inhales. Option to close the eyes. Let the fingers try to settle. Maybe they're starting to wiggle, getting impatient, but we'll try for stillness. Take an inhale, press the head against that left arm. Exhale, take that right elbow, try to drag it to face the floor. We'll release the arms after your next exhale into a T. Roll the shoulders in opposite directions to release that tension. As we inhale, we'll reach the arms up. Meet the prayer at the top. We'll let the prayer descend to the heart. Take a full inhale here, sending some breath to your shoulders. Exhale, release that heat. Plant the hands in front of you. We'll roll into a tabletop position, letting our blocks find the top of our mat for later use at their highest setting. We'll take a moment to set up in our tabletop here. Hips are somewhere over the knees, shoulders are somewhere over the wrists. Maybe you experiment with walking the hands out wider, walking the knees to the edges of the mat, maybe tucking the toes or untucking the toes, and find your tabletop today. We'll start to shift our weight back towards the heels, then all the way to the right side of the mat, towards the front of the mat, shifting forward towards the front, and then towards the left. So we're letting our body, our hips, our torso move in full circles, counterclockwise, going super slow, maybe 25% slower than you think you should be going. Start turning inward, gazing inward, and just sense what the body might be telling you. Maybe you feel safe, or maybe you feel a little rocky on certain places. And if there's a spot that you start to feel sticky, maybe you ask yourself to pause there and to sit in that uncomfortability for just a moment. We'll start to reverse the circles into a clockwise rotation, letting our weight come into the right hand, the right knee, the left knee, and the left hand. We'll take 2 more circles as we start breathing slowly, gazing down at the center of your mat, spreading all 10 fingers wide, pressing equally into all 10 fingers. We'll come to center, distributing our weight equally among the hands and the knees, and we'll tap out the toes to release any tension that may have been created. We'll take a little neck stretch here, gazing down at the floor. Keep the head right where it is. Just shift your eyes all the way to the right. Keeping the eyes shifted to the right, bring right ear towards right shoulder for a neck stretch in the left side of the neck. Keep gazing to the right. Take a full inhale, press the shoulders away from the ears. As you exhale, bring the head back to center, bring the eyes back in between the thumbs. We'll take that to the opposite side. First, gazing all the way to the left, keeping the head at center. Slowly shift left ear to left shoulder, finding a nice stretch in the right side of the neck. Take a full inhale, letting the shoulders come away from the ears. Keep gazing to the left, bring the head back to center. Let the eyes drop down to gaze at the bottom of the mat. We'll take that once more to each side. Gaze all the way to the right. Then slowly bring right ear to right shoulder. Maybe you start to rock the chin gently up and down, maybe side to side, sensing any sensations, any talking from that neck, just exploring the movements, exploring the shape. Take one more inhale, gaze all the way to the left, bring the head back to center, let the eyes follow to the mat. We'll do that to the left side, gazing all the way to the left. Slowly left ear comes towards left shoulder. We'll be here for a few breaths, just exploring the shape, exploring maybe both sides, feeling a little bit different, and gently moving the head in different directions just to see how you're feeling, how the neck is responding to movement. Gaze all the way to the left. We'll bring the head back to center. Let the eyes drop down to the mat. Good. We'll take a wrist stretch from here, flipping our palms so fingers are facing us, letting ourselves come as much on the weight of our knees as needed. And if this is not working for you, you can sit back and take the same stretch in the air by showing me a high five and then pressing the opposite hand so fingers come towards you. If you'd like to take this from tabletop, we'll slowly tuck the toes, bend the elbows slightly, as much as you want. And if you want more, we can start dropping the heel or the hips towards the heels. This can be very intense, so take a couple of breaths. And if you are sitting back, stretching the right fingers back, maybe you take a roll in the right hand and we'll high five the left hand and pull the left fingers back. So just switching hands. If you're in tabletop, take a couple more breaths, slightly bending, pressing into all 10 fingers so the fingers are active and not just hanging out there. One more breath. And if you're in tabletop, we'll meet in this kneeling position. Bring the hands to interlace and we'll roll out the wrists in figure eights or circles, whatever feels like a good release. You can switch directions. And we'll take one more stretch here for our wrists in tabletop. I'll face you so you can see. We'll take the right hand and keep it just where it is. Left hand, we'll take the back of the hand to the mat and let the fingers face the right hand. From here, we'll put a little or a lot of weight onto that left hand, whatever feels good. And we'll start to slowly make a fist with the left hand. We'll release the fist and the fingers to the earth, and we'll do that 5 times. Maybe you look down at your fingers, notice if you have a little claw thing going on in the pointer finger, and trying intentionally to curl each finger, including the thumb. Maybe you sense a little bit of sensation or a lot of sensation, and maybe this is something you invite into your everyday practice. Take one more. We'll release the hand down to the ground. Bring the left hand back to where it started in its typical tabletop position. Maybe you notice any difference in the wrist, maybe a little bit of heat that was created in the left side. This time, left hand stays where it is. Right hand will flip, fingers facing towards you, back of the hand to the ground, and then turn the fingers to face the left hand. So a little bit of weight or a lot of weight. And again, it doesn't have to match the opposite side. We'll start to slowly curl the fingers into a fist or an attempt at a fist. We'll do this 5 times, letting the fingers lay flat down on the ground, making that fist again. Not trying to get the fingers closed as our total goal, but our goal is to observe and to feel how the hand is doing in this position. Maybe it feels easier. Maybe you get a little more bend in the fingers of the opposite hand. And just notice maybe your dominant and not dominant hand, what the difference is, what the sensations are like compared. Take one more fist, giving yourself that little last bit of sensation before we flip the palm back to its normal position. I'll turn to the front of my mat, and with you, we'll take some cat-cows, walking the knees as far back as feels good, either tucking the toes or releasing the toes to the earth. We'll slowly let the belly drop, gaze at the ceiling, let the tailbone stick all the way up for cow. Exhale, we'll press into the hands, shooting energy into the earth. Spread the fingers as you arch the spine to the ceiling. Gaze towards the navel. We'll take 3 more rounds and let your breath guide you. The entire inhale guides the belly down and the head facing up. The entire exhale lets the chest cave towards the ground, tippy top of the spine towards the ceiling, gaze down. Maybe you bend your elbows to scoop the chest towards the earth and then up towards the ceiling, opening the heart. Exhale, press the hands and the knees into the earth. Gaze at the belly. Good. One more, and if this feels good, continue this movement. If you'd like to switch to a different spine movement with me, we'll meet in a neutral tabletop position, letting the spine get long, like someone's pulling your head forward and at the same time pulling your hips back. Good. We'll wag the tail to the right, gaze towards the right heel. You don't have to look at it, just towards it. And wagging the tail to the left, gazing back at the left heel. Maybe this feels good. Maybe you continue. Maybe cat-cow is what your body's asking for. But I ask you to turn inward and take 5 breaths of your organic movement. You can bring big circles into the body. You can start shifting the weight forward and back, maybe side to side as we did before. Maybe closing your eyes, gazing inward, just connecting the breath with movement. noticing if there's any sticky parts, if your body's talking to you in any way. After your next exhale, we'll let the torso come back to a tabletop position. Walk our hands one handprint forward, elongating our stance. We'll keep the left knee towards midline, bringing it to the center of the mat, and extend the right leg long, tucking the toes underneath you. Strong leg. I'll turn this way so you can see. We'll let the left leg 90-degree kickstand off the mat, and we'll take left hand to midline. Spin the right heel down all the way to the earth, so the pinky toes facing ground. Right arm inhales to the ceiling for a knee down side plank. We're opening the chest towards the sky, opening the hips towards my direction, right hip point facing the ceiling. Every single toe on the right foot is grounded. As you inhale, sense this line of energy from the left wrist towards the right, and sense your neck sitting on the perfect pedestal created by your spine. One more inhale to reach the right hand high, grounding the left knee. As you exhale, ground the right foot. Use the strength of your abdomen to lift yourself upright, bringing the arms to a T. We'll shift ourselves all the way to the right, reaching the right fingers as far as they can go. When you can't reach anymore, we'll drop that right hand down to the right leg, lift the left arm high. We're stretching the left side of the body. Maybe you start opening the chest to the ceiling, or maybe you explore what it feels like to round the chest towards the ground. We'll be here for 3 breaths. So if you'd like to explore movement. Maybe rolling the shoulder of that top arm. Maybe you would like stillness here. Bring that intention inward, noticing any sensations that pop up. One more breath to reach left fingers long. Exhale to cartwheel the hands back down to the mat. Bring the right knee in to meet the left. We'll take 1 round of cat-cow, letting the belly drop on the inhale and pressing into the hands to let the spine arch on the exhale. We'll take that sequence to the opposite side. Right knee will come to midline in the middle of the mat. Left leg will extend long, toes tucked. Strong left leg. We'll start to kickstand that right knee so your foot is coming to a 90-degree angle. Spin the left foot down to the earth. Right hand will come to midline right underneath the face. Open the chest, left arm reaching high to the sky. So we're in the same position on the other side. Let those right toes relax and let the left pinky toe and every toe ground into the earth. Left arm reaches to the ceiling, sensing a line of energy through the wingspan. And we'll take 2 breaths here, continuing to open the left hip, embracing the core, embracing the abdomen. Maybe letting your gaze reach up to the ceiling if it feels okay on your neck. 1 more breath to reach. Use that exhale to press the torso upright, kneeling on the right knee, arms to a T. Gaze past left middle finger, reach the left arm as far as it can go. Drop the left arm down to the knee, lift the right arm to the sky. We'll continue reaching here. And again, stay in stillness if that's what your body's asking, or maybe you find movement, opening the chest and closing the chest, or bringing big circles into that top arm. Wherever you are, we're standing tall on that knee, not letting the left knee bend, but keeping it straight. 1 more reach with those right fingers. As you exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the earth. Bring the left knee to meet the right. And we'll take a cat-cow for a transition for neutral. Meeting me in a neutral spine. We'll tuck the toes, press the hands into the earth and slowly lift the hips to straighten the legs to find downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Bend deeply into one knee, gaze under the opposite armpit, and bend deeply into the other knee, gazing under the other arm. If this feels good to walk the dog with deep bent legs, please continue this movement. Otherwise, we'll find stillness, letting the heels relax towards the earth. And if your heels are on the earth, maybe you challenge yourself to walk them back just an inch so they're floating, they're grounding down. Even if they're not touching the earth, they're anchoring towards the ground. Gaze at the fingers, spread them out wide, and now we'll turn a little bit more weight into where the pointer finger and the thumb meet. So if I came over and tried to put my finger underneath your hand, between your thumb and index, I wouldn't be able to. As you inhale, let the head just drop entirely. As you exhale, tilt the tailbones up to the sky, press the heels down to the earth for a hamstring sensation. The knees can bend as much as they would like. And if downward facing dog isn't working for you, we can come back to tabletop pose instead. We'll take 3 breaths wherever you are, pressing the hands into the earth, pressing the legs or the feet into the earth, letting the head relax. Bring left foot to midline. Inhale to reach the right leg high to the ceiling. Bend the knee, open the hip out to the right. We'll take big circles in that right knee, drawing maybe circles or a square, maybe writing your name. Press equally into both hands, switch directions with that knee circle. Maybe 2, maybe 3, super slow. Next, inhale, raises right toes to the ceiling, straighten the leg, gaze forward. Exhale to find the knee to the nose, arching the spine just like cat pose. We'll slowly bring that foot between the hands. Left knee comes down to the earth. Untuck the toes behind you, hug the thighs together as you walk the hands up to right knee. Inhale to bring the palms to heart center, or maybe extend the arms up into a V shape, fingers curled in. Inhale to lift the heart, lift the fingers. Exhale to hug the thighs together and sink into those hips. One more inhale here to reach the fingers high. Exhale to shift the hips back, straighten the front leg. We'll take our blocks on their highest setting. Flex the right toes back towards the face, and we'll find half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. We'll take our peace fingers of our right hand, put it on our right hip crease, and scoot the right heel back along with that hip to straighten the hips into alignment. As you inhale, fingertips to the blocks, gaze forward. Pretending we have a laser coming out of our heart, try to shoot that laser forward on your exhale. Take 3 breaths here, knowing you can take movement, maybe waving the toes, maybe you walk the foot farther towards the right and fold between the legs. One more breath to keep length in the spine. Exhale to fold forward instead of downward. Good. We'll bend into that right knee, walk the blocks forward onto their lowest setting, tuck the left toe, lift the knee. Left hand stays on the block, right arm reaches towards the ceiling into your twisted lunge. Take an inhale to gaze at the right thumb. Exhale to plant the hand onto that right block, step the right foot back to meet the left. We'll take an inhale, getting strong in our plank position. Exhale to shift the hips back into downward facing dog. Maybe the blocks feel really good under your hands and you'd like to keep them. And if they don't, you can take the hands down to the ground and move the blocks out of the way for later use. Bring the right foot to midline this time. Left leg reaches high to the ceiling. Bend the knee, open the hip out to the right. Big circles in one direction of your choice. And after 2 or 3 slow circles, we'll change direction. On your next inhale, straighten that leg, point the toes to where the ceiling and the wall meet. Exhale, gaze forward, bend the knee into the chest like a cat pose. Step the foot between the hands, right knee comes down to the earth, untuck the toes. We'll crawl ourselves up to that front knee, sink into the hips. Palms come to heart center, or reach the arms to the ceiling, whichever feels better. Roll the shoulders down, drop them away from the ears. One more breath here, inhaling the chest to the ceiling. Exhale to hug the thighs together, sink the hips low. Inhale to reach the fingers high, let the neck grow. Exhale, shift the hips back, straighten the front leg. Find your blocks on their highest setting. Flex the left toes back towards the face. Maybe you move the foot to the left side of the mat. Left fingers to left hip point. We'll scoot the heel back just an inch along with the hip. Fingertips to the block. Inhale, torso gets long. Exhale to fold over yourself. Folding forward, letting the head reach to the front of the mat. One more inhale, let the spine grow. Exhale to sink. Take one more breath here. Filling up. On your exhale, release. Let the left toes find the earth, bend into left knee. Walk your blocks to their lowest setting on either side of the top of the mat. Tuck the right toes, lift the knee. Right hand stays where it is. Left arm opens to the ceiling into your twisted lunge. Strengthen that back leg, gaze up at the left thumb. Exhale, palms both to the blocks. Step the left foot back to meet the right plank position. Inhale to get strong in your plank. Exhale to lift the hips to downward facing dog. Beautiful. We'll take our hands away from the blocks, just pressing them towards the top of our mat for later. And we'll take our modified vinyasa together. Inhale to shift forward into plank position. Exhale to lower the knees, gaze forward. Take an inhale, getting strong, flattening the back. Exhale, lower the elbows or bend the elbows, lower the forehead to the earth. Untuck the toes, inhale to lift the head and chest, baby cobra. Exhale, plant the forehead on the mat. Press into the hands, shift yourself into tabletop position. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, straighten the legs, downward facing dog. We'll take 2 breaths here in our downward facing dog before we start to flow. Left foot will come to midline. Next inhale lets the right leg reach to the sky. Gaze forward, step the right foot between the hands. Left knee stays lifted, hug the thighs together. Use the strength of the legs to inhale the torso upright. And we'll bring the palms to heart center. As you inhale, bend that right leg, strengthen that left leg. Exhale, release the torso parallel to the ground. Extend the arms behind you. Inhale to reach the arms over the head, straighten the torso. Exhale, release the chest towards the earth. Release the hands behind you. One more like this. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. This time we'll twist, open to the right. Let the arms come in opposite directions alongside the legs. As you inhale, spread between the collarbones to the fingers. Exhale, maybe right hand drops towards the left leg. Extend the left arm high, balance challenge. One more inhale, gaze at that left thumb. Exhale, cartwheel the hands together, maybe on the blocks or not. Step the right foot back to meet the left. We'll take a flow or go directly to downward facing dog. Shifting forward on the inhale, maybe lower the knees or don't. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale for baby cobra, or maybe you press the knees up, straighten the arms, upward facing dog. Exhale to use the hips and abdomen to find downward facing dog. This time, right foot comes to midline, left leg reaches high to the ceiling. Come through your knee to nose, step left foot between the hands. Right knee stays lifted, strong legs. Inhale to reach the arms overhead. Exhale to settle, bringing palms to heart center. Sink into that knee, strengthen the back leg. Inhale to reach the arms up, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, release the hands behind you as the chest comes parallel to the earth. Inhale to strengthen the legs, reach the arms up, torso open. Exhale, close the heart off to the earth, releasing the hands behind you. One more like this. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, let the heart close towards the ground. Let the hands reach into airplane arms. Beautiful. Bend in that left knee, reach the arms up as the torso opens. We'll take our twist to the left, right arm forward, left arm back. We'll be here for 2 breaths, reaching the fingers in opposite directions, sinking into that left foot. Maybe you float the toes, spread them out, release them to the earth. As you inhale, bend into that left knee. Exhale, maybe left hand drops down to right leg into your back bend. Inhale to reach right hand high, maybe gaze up. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the earth. Step back to plank position. Find downward facing dog or take your flow. Inhale, shifting forward. Exhale, bending the elbows, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, your back bend, baby cobra, king cobra, or upward facing dog. Exhale, use the abdomen to lift the hips. Find downward facing dog. We'll lower the knees to the earth, finding a child's pose. For a hip release, maybe the knees stay wide. For a low back release, maybe the knees come into center. We'll let the heels and the hips meet by sitting back on the heels. Release the forehead to the mat. Maybe you rock the forehead side to side, giving yourself a little massage on the head, and connect to that space of third eye center, that space of intuition, of self-knowledge. Continue breathing, sensing the heartbeat. Continue reminding yourself of that intention that you created. And if that intention has changed, that's okay. We'll bring deep breaths by inhaling through the nostrils, exhaling, releasing out the mouth. We'll come through tabletop, finding downward facing dog. Hips are lifted, heels are grounding, and we'll flow again. Left leg to midline, let the right leg reach to the sky. Gaze forward, step the foot between the hands. We'll find a high lunge, reaching the arms to the ceiling, opening the chest. This time, spinning left heel down, opening the arms alongside the body. Reaching right arm forward, reaching left arm back, bending into right knee. Take left hand to left thigh, open the thigh towards the ceiling, planting left pinky toe. Inhale to flip the right palm, shift forward and tilt it back, paint the sky, reverse warrior. And we'll stay for a breath. Bending into right knee, letting the right toes be relaxed. Straighten front leg, keep reaching back, reverse triangle. We'll let the torso come upright, reach the arms to a T. Heel toe, left foot in, just a couple of times. Let the hips shift to the left, reach all the way forward over the body. Eventually, right hand drops to the leg, to the mat, or my favorite, onto a high block. Putting minimal weight in those fingertips, just to have them tickle the block, as my teacher said. Left arm reaches high. Maybe you flip the palm to the back and find a bind with that left arm to open the chest further. One more inhale to gaze at the ceiling. Exhale, release that bind if you took it. We'll start to bend the right knee and shift the torso upright to a warrior two. We'll spin the left heel off the ground, facing the front of our mat, extending both arms high to the ceiling. And we'll start to find a humble warrior by letting the torso drop down towards the earth, extending the arms behind us. Option to stay in this humble lunge, or for a little more balanced stability, take the left heel down to the earth. One more inhale to bring the left hip forward, right hip back. Exhale, strengthen the legs. Take an inhale to let the torso come upright, high lunge or warrior one. Exhale to plant the hands onto the earth. Step back to a plank position. Maybe you take a one-legged vinyasa, or maybe downward facing dog, your option. Always knowing that your vinyasa is your choice and it does not have to look the same every time. Take 2 breaths as we prepare for the other side, knowing what's coming on the left. Keep the right foot at midline, lift the left leg up to the sky, gaze forward. Exhale, step the foot between the hands, setting up for a high lunge. Inhale to lift the torso upright, strengthen both legs. Exhale, spin the right heel down, open the arms alongside the legs. Deep bend in that left knee, gaze at the big toe. If you can't see your big toe, maybe you take your knee and extend it to the outside just a bit. Reach the arms alongside the body, roll the shoulders back and down. Flip the left palm, reach forward to tilt it back, reverse warrior, and we'll stay for a minute, bending into that left knee, continuing to press the pinky toe of the right foot into the earth. As you inhale, straighten front leg, keep reaching back, reverse triangle. Exhale, use the abdomen to bring the torso upright, arms to a T. Heel toe, right foot in. As you shift the hips to the right, reach forward over the body. Eventually dropping left hand to the mat, leg or a block, right arm reaching high. Gaze down the left toes and distribute your weight between all 4 corners of left foot. Float the toes off the earth, give them a wiggle, and release them to the ground. If you'd like to bind, let the palm of the right hand spin back, bend the elbow, snuggle it into the hip, and take one more breath, opening the chest, gazing up. Exhale to release the arm back to the sky if it's not there. Bend into right knee, and we'll lift the torso back to a warrior two. As you inhale, we'll spin the right heel up to pivot our body to face the front of the mat. Inhale to lift the arms upright. Exhale, we'll humble our lunge, letting the arms reach back behind us, trying not to let our belly just rest on our leg, but using the strength of our legs to keep our torso up. For more stability, drop that right heel, walking the right foot out to the right, for a warrior one leg. Wherever you are, pull the left hip back, right hip forward. Take one more inhale. Exhale to lift the torso upright. Maybe that right heel lifts up again or stays grounded for warrior one. Inhale to lift the fingers, lift the torso. Exhale, plant the hands onto the earth. Take your vinyasa or go straight to downward facing dog. Whatever you're feeling called to do, feeling free to pause in any part of your vinyasa or adding another pose, taking anything away as needed. Take 2 breaths in your downward facing dog. We'll prepare for some balancing poses, finding strength and cultivating balance. One more breath in your down dog as you inhale fully. Exhale, release the head and the weight of the body to the ground. Inhale to lift the heels high. Exhales to sink the heels to the ground. Inhale, lift the heels high, gaze forward. Exhale, sink the heels. Inhale, lift the heels high, gaze forward. Keep the heels lifted, drop the knees, bend the knees. Bottom of your exhale, step, hop, jump, walk, whatever it is to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold down, hinging at the hips, Uttanasana, forward folds. Plant the feet, bend the knees, reach the torso and arms all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Take one inhale for a back bend, reaching the heart to the sky. Exhale, palms meet at heart center. Equal standing, equal weight in both feet. Take a full inhale, filling up, getting taller. Full exhale to ground the feet. We'll take all of our weight into our right leg. We'll start to bend left knee to try to kick the booty with the heel. We'll extend the left leg back as we drop the chest forward, finding a warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. Flex those left toes as the torso comes only as low as the leg comes high, just like a seesaw. Gaze down at the right toes, ask them to relax, and lift the head to gaze in front of the mat. For a little challenge, reach the arms behind you, maybe to a T, or extend them alongside the ears. Take one more breath as you flex the left foot back to the back of the room. And slowly as you exhale, release the hands to the ground or to your high blocks. Standing split as you inhale, letting the left leg reach to the sky. Exhale to deeply bend that right knee, letting the knee and the toes of the left foot come to the earth. We'll find our Ardha Hanumanasana once again, rocking the hips back, straightening that front leg, flexing the toes to the earth. Now that we're warmed up, challenge yourself to stay for a couple of extra breaths. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale to fold over yourself. Gift yourself the gift of 4 deep breaths, continuing to pull the right hip back, letting the forehead reach to the front of the mat. Just asking yourself to stay in that stillness, in that nourishing discomfort. From here, we'll take an IT band stretch, letting our left hand come to a block on the outside of our foot. Keeping that right hip dropped, we'll reach the right arm open towards the sky, feeling a nice stretch in the side of the thigh. Inhale to reach the finger up. Let the right toes stay facing the ceiling if possible. Exhale to release the hand down to the ground. Plant the right toes, bend into right knee. Let the hands come to the earth, tuck left toes, lift left knee. Inhale to strengthen the legs, come to the fingertips. Exhale to plant the hands, step the right foot back. Maybe you find your flow or meet me in downward facing dog. We'll take that sequence to the opposite side. Inhaling, lifting the heels. Exhale, drop the heels to the right. Press equally into both hands, and then bring a little more weight into that left arm. Opening the side bodies, reaching the hips back. Inhale, lift the heels to center, and we'll drop the heels to the left this time, pressing equally into both hands, and then pressing into right arm. Inhale to lift the heels, gaze forward. Exhale, bend the knees, drop the torso low. Bottom of the exhale, step, hop, or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold all the way down. Plant the feet, bend the knees, reach the arms, shoot your energy upwards towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Equal standing, just finding our footing. Samastitihi means equal standing. Rock your weight to your toes, to your heels, and to side, and then let your feet find equal weight on all four corners. We'll take our warrior three on the opposite side, bringing all of our weight into left foot. Bend right knee, letting the heel come towards the glute. And we'll slowly start to extend the leg back as we straighten the knee, letting the torso drop towards parallel with the earth. Does not have to be parallel. That right foot only goes as high as the torso goes low. Ooh, losing my balance. Gaze at the left toes, ask them to relax, and keep distributing that weight through the whole foot. As you inhale, extend the heel back, flexing the toes, reaching the head forward. For arm variations, we can reach the arms behind us into airplane, reach the arms to a T, or maybe reach the arms forward alongside the ears. One more breath to extend the body. As you exhale, release the hands to the earth. Right leg reaches to the sky, standing splits. One more inhale, lift the right toes. Exhale, bend left knee. Bring right knee to the mat. We'll find our half splits once again, shifting the hips back, extending the left leg straight, letting the toes flex upward. We'll crawl ourselves forward, crawl the heel back just an inch, and let the hips find their alignment. Inhale to let the torso rise, abdomen floats away from the pelvis. Exhale to fold forward over yourself. Give yourself 4 deep breaths here, asking yourself to send breath to one body part that's asking for it. Not reaching that 100% marker of stretching, but maybe 60 or 70% sensation. One more breath, lift the torso. We'll take the right hand to the block this time at whatever height suits you. Keep that left hip dropped as we open the chest to the left, reaching right arm high. You'll sense an IT band stretch here, a deep sensation possibly in the hips, in the legs. As you inhale, maybe you gaze up if it's okay on your neck. Exhale, release the hand to the earth, plant the left toes, bend into that knee. We'll take one final vinyasa if you'd like, tucking right toes, lifting the knee. On your inhale, strengthening the legs. On your exhale, planting the hands, shifting back to plank position, or maybe downward facing dog. When you reach downward facing dog, drop the knees to the earth, release the chest towards the ground, letting the hips rock back to the heels. Child's pose. Take a full inhale. Exhale, release out the mouth. Pressing into the hands, we'll come through a tabletop position, letting the hips drop all the way to the earth, toes and toenails on the ground. We'll pause for a moment in Advasana, in crocodile, maybe a little pillow for your head with your hands, or one cheek to the mat. We'll take a breath here, noticing the quality of your breath. Exhale, release. We'll come to Sphinx pose, letting the elbows prop ourselves up right underneath the shoulders, forearms in the shape of an 11. Spread the fingers wide, letting the toes come about hip height. Wiggle the tail a couple of times for a little low back release. We'll first let the shoulders get kind of crunchy and bring them up to the ears. And then we'll let the shoulders roll back, let the neck grow like a regal sphinx. Lots of opposition happening. Toes are planted, reaching behind you as the chest reaches forward, trying to scoot yourself between the arms. Elbows and hands press into the ground as the head and the crown reach upward. Embrace the core slightly. Reach the shoulders back. Press the toes down. Spread the fingers out. Take one more breath, growing tall as you ground the pelvis. Exhale, release the forehead to the earth. Wiggle the tail back and forth. We'll press the palms underneath the shoulders, rock ourselves into one child's pose for a little counter, a little release. As you inhale, reach the fingertips all the way to the front of the mat. As you exhale, reach the hips to the back of the mat, sensing opening through the back, through the side bodies. We'll slowly make it to lie on the back, however your body likes to get there. Nothing fancy. Don't think too hard about it. And we'll slowly start to settle the spine onto the earth as we bring the feet to the opposite ends of the mat, pretty far apart from one another, maybe even off the mat. Let the knees knock in. Let the hands either connect with the body or extend onto the earth. We'll take a breath in this settling, neutral pose, rocking the head to the right and then to the left, then finding center, rolling the shoulders down. Separate the knees 2 feet width distance. Lift the hips and bring them to the right side of your mat. Let the knees gather into the chest, and we'll drop the knees towards the left into a supine twist. Maybe you explore how it feels to place a block underneath the knees, between the knees, or maybe you crisscross right knee on top of left. Take a moment to set up. We'll be here for a minute or so. Letting the arms release into a T if that feels good. Maybe you hold the body with 1 or 2 arms. Maybe gazing at the ceiling, gazing left or right, whatever feels good on your neck. On your inhales, can you sense your vertebrae spreading away from one another? On your exhales, use that length you just created to twist a little bit deeper into your twist. Take a full inhale to release the shoulders, give them a wiggle. Exhale, let the ground hold you. 2 more breaths, feeling free to let out an audible sigh at any time. If tension has gathered in the toes, give them a wiggle. Slowly and embracing the core, we'll rock ourselves back, losing our block just for now, to that neutral space where the feet are wide, the knees knock in together. Maybe connect the hands with the body, one hand on the heart, one on the belly. Take an inhale, sensing length in the spine. We'll lift the hips, rock them to the left side of the mat, hug the knees into the chest, and slowly drop them over towards the right. Maybe you play with that block again, putting it underneath the legs, between the knees. Maybe you crisscross left knee on top of right. Feel free to adjust the shoulders. Just because you land in a certain position does not mean you have to stay there. Left shoulder can stay on the mat, or you can start to flop over towards the side. Let the arms find wherever is comfortable. Maybe connected to the body, maybe in a T. Fidget and move just a little bit to find that place that you can find stillness. When you do find that stillness, drop into noticing the quality of the breath and take 5 inhales, followed by 5 exhales. Noticing that place in between the inhales and exhales. And noticing that place between the exhales and the inhales. Letting the shoulders relax. Releasing tension from the feet. Take a final deep inhale. As you exhale, twist, settling into your body. Embrace the core slightly. Roll yourself to your back. Let the feet come wide one last time. Let the hips come to center. Knock the knees inward. Notice subtly any changes that your body might feel since last time we were here. And we'll invite the knees into the chest. Bring the right hand and the left hand to the knees respectively. And we'll open the knees wide for an inner thigh stretch, for a happy baby. Pressing the tail onto the earth, using the strength of the arms to open the legs. Maybe you start stirring 2 pots with your knees in opposite directions. If there are any other poses your body is asking you to take, maybe happy baby, letting the hands come to the outside of the feet. Maybe an inversion, letting the legs lift to the sky for waterfall, or any other pose you like before final rest. Let yourself take it. Let yourself follow your internal teacher. And when you're ready, you'll meet me in Shavasana by letting the legs get long, finding space between the thighs, letting the arms get wide, like you're in the shape of a starfish, space between the armpits. Press the head into the mat, lift the shoulders to roll them down just a bit. Let the feet flop inward and then outward, and then find a place that feels natural to them. Give the toes a little wiggle, ask them to relax. Make a fist with both palms, spread the fingers wide, then let your fingers come to their natural curl. Rock the head to the right, Rock the head to the left. Let the back of the head find a center that feels balanced, that feels good. Ask it to relax. Tense up the shoulders, draw them away from the ears. Ask them to relax. We'll take one final big inhale together to hold the breath at the top. Sip in a little bit more air, fill up entirely. As you exhale, release yourself to the mat, to your props, finding Shavasana. Rest here for a few minutes. If you know you have trouble keeping your mentality focused and calm, I invite you to bring in the mantra, so hum. So meaning I, am meaning hum, so hum, I am. I'll bring you back in a few minutes. Start to bring intention to your body, rubbing the thumb and index finger lightly together, noticing the subtleties of your finger pad. Then we'll rub the middle finger and thumb together and so on, giving each finger a chance. Bring a deep inhale to the body through the nostrils. And then as slow as you can, exhale through the mouth, sighing and releasing. Reach the arms overhead, point the toes, finding a nice, good morning stretch. If you'd like to end your practice here or stay in Shavasana if you have the time and are comfortable, stay. Otherwise, we'll slowly invite the knees into the chest and roll to one side, pausing for a moment, maybe making a pillow with your arm, bringing the opposite hand to the heart. Gaze inward and give yourself a compliment that you can lock into your heart space for later. Repeat that compliment to yourself twice more. Keeping the eyes closed or heavy, use the strength of your arms to lift yourself up to an easy seat. Maybe again, sitting on a block, how we started, or in your position of choice. Draw the prayer to heart center. Let the elbows span wide. Finger pads gently pressing against one another. A little room in between the palms. Roll the shoulders back and down. Embrace the core. Lean back just a bit. Let the neck start to grow. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears. We'll close our practice with 2 breaths and the sound of Om. Again, feeling free to join in or just soaking it up. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, release. Inhaling. Sigh it out. Inhale for Om. Om. Draw the prayer to the forehead as a reminder of clear, loving thoughts. The prayer to the lips for clear, loving words and communication. And prayer to the heart for clear, loving action. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for allowing me to lead you through yoga.